And ladies and gentlemen, he's one of the all-time greats, my buddy, Mr. John Wayne.
You're listening to the John Wayne Gritcast with me, Ethan Wayne.
The hell I was.
We're talking all about the life and legacy of my father.
John Wayne.
Mr. John Wayne.
John Wayne is the United States of America.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go.
Ethan, that background's awesome.
You got to come next time you're here. You have to come out.
I would love to.
Well, let's say hi to everybody in the podcast. Welcome everybody. Today we have my niece, Jennifer
Hi.
Wayne, on. Jennifer is my daughter, my sister Aisa's daughter, and she's had a really interesting life and career, and I'm excited to have her on to share a little bit of that with us today. So yeah, Jennifer, this is Pioneer Town, and it's only about 2 hours from Newport, and it's a you got to come out here and see it. There's a really cool sound stage in town and a couple of studios here.
Wow,
So
that's
hopefully
stunning.
Get you guys booked for something, or I don't know, something.
Yeah.
You got to come out and at least visit. Hey, is Annie at Polaris today?
She's flying to California today, so she'll probably go to my mom's first, I think.
Okay.
And then maybe go to...
When I'm going to leave here after this, and then I'm going to go straight to Polaris, and hopefully I'll cross out her and your mom.
Oh, yay. She's still on the ball. She's witty and she's running circles around us.
Who, Pilar?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know. She's 92 or 3.
93, I think,
She's
right?
93. Yeah, she's sharp. She dresses well. She's got her activities. Yeah, she runs us around like crazy.
You got
like
some
the
good genes.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Well, I guess, we're related, obviously, and we see each other a little bit now. But growing up, like when you were growing up and when I was growing up too, I mean, we just didn't cross paths that often. And so you've had this whole life, up until we started spending time together that, gosh, I just don't know much about it. You're, very popular in your own right now. And I know our listeners would be interested in just learning a little bit about you. Like, where did this all start?
Well, and for the listeners, the reason I didn't see Ethan that much growing up, my dad raised us, my brother and I, and he lived in San Diego and my mom lived in Newport Beach. So we'd come up on Newport on the weekends, but really we were in San Diego. And I grew up playing tennis. I was a tennis player. My dad was a tennis pro, so I think I was probably born with a racket in my hand. But I always loved music. And so I, for my dad, tennis was my path. And so I kind of went down that path through college. I played in college, and then I taught tennis for a couple of years at the Beverly Hills Tennis Club. And I was writing music, and my ex-boyfriend at the time, his name was Bob Bryan. He has a twin brother named Mike, and they're tennis players. And we started a band together, and we'd go around playing shows at all the tennis tournaments. That's been, what?
That's how music started for you?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved it, but that was the first time where I actually started singing live and playing live. And it was actually Bob's dad, Wayne Bryan. He was like, you got to get out there. You can sing. And I'm like, no, I'm too shy.
You know what's funny? I'm kind of remembering this now. I'm remembering somebody telling me, like, no, Jennifer, they play like the whole family plays as a group. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think we played at Manu's house one night.
Did you pick up guitar before that?
No, so Wayne Bryan, he bought me a guitar, my first guitar, and I was 18 at the time, and I just taught myself how to play 3 chords, and I just started writing songs, and so that really is my passion is writing, and so I wrote all these songs that were pretty bad now that I look back on it, but we would play them everywhere and sing a lot of covers. And, but yeah, so that's when I started playing guitar at 18, and I just taught myself. I never had lessons. I just, looked up how to play chords and started writing music.
Wow, I've been taking lessons for 6 years and I still only have 3 chords.
Yeah, no, you're probably better than me. I can't solo or anything. I just play rhythm.
Let's put it this way. I could not make a living with my guitar, and you can.
Oh man. But yeah, so that's how music started. And I saved up enough money. I was teaching tennis, and I saved up enough money to move to Nashville. I think it was like 6 months I budgeted out that I could afford to keep myself going without a job in Nashville. And I just moved. I didn't know anyone. And my aunt, Marisa, who's Ethan's sister, she had lived in Nashville when she was younger. And so she flew me out to just introduce me to whoever she knew. And I had never been there before. It was my first time, and kind of showed me around. And so that was it. That was all I knew. Was I had one trip out there with my aunt, and she introduced me to a couple of her friends. And so that was it. I packed my car. My stepdad drove me out there, and
Wow.
I just went for it. Looking back now, I'm like, if I knew how hard it was, and you know what I thought I was like as good as Carrie Underwood, and then I got to Nashville. I'm like, oh man, I am not as good as I thought I was. So looking back now, if I would have known, I probably wouldn't have moved. So being naive kind of helped, I think.
But I think that's the way everything in life happens. You know, you have the courage to take that first step. And
Yeah.
then, you know, the ability to stick it out and to, you know, have a clear look at yourself and go, I've got to learn. And then you start to learn, or you get involved, or you start doing the work, and then things start to happen. But without that first step, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. And without failing too. I mean, I just fell flat on my face so many times, but that's what made me better. Like you said, I learned what I was good at, what I wasn't good at. And I
did you play in places in Nashville? Like, did you go sing at bars or venues or something? Or did you just go right into songwriting?
No, I did a lot of songwriting, but there was this bar called Tin Roof. It's still here. And I played there every Monday and Tuesday night, and I was terrible, but I thought I was good. But I was really bad.
I don't think you were terrible. I've never heard someone say you were terrible.
I was singing the wrong songs, and I just didn't know what I was doing. And then I got this manager who said, well, let's do a showcase and try to get you a record deal. And it was just way too early to do it. I wasn't ready. I didn't have the songs. I didn't have the experience. And I think because of who my grandpa was and your dad, I think a lot of people showed up because of that reason. So it was great that people showed up, but it was also kind of a detriment in that I played the showcase and it was not good. Every label passed. They told me to go home, that you'll never make it in music. And I just remember, like, I think I cried for 2 or 3 days after that, going, I can never show myself in town again, you know? And I don't know why I didn't leave. For some reason, I did not leave. I stayed. I can't believe it looking back, but I realized that I just needed time and I needed to get better. And I was singing I was singing songs that were out of my range. And I hadn't written the songs yet. I didn't have the experience. And so I just kept on going. I have no idea why, Ethan, because it was embarrassing.
You went from tennis that you knew, right? From teaching tennis to Nashville after just singing with friends and teaching yourself how to play guitar. So it's a big step. I can understand that there might be a year or two of seasoning involved. And
yeah, it was like 10 years.
So I completely understand what you're talking about, where if you're connected to somebody like John Wayne, or you have some famous person there, you might get into a situation that you're not prepared for. And I certainly encountered that in my life. And it, you know, until you realize it's you know, I don't know that it's helpful. It's almost detrimental because you're not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
It's certainly nice to have that when you are ready, but you know, you went out there when you weren't prepared, but you stuck to it. And I don't know how the career evolved after that, but it doesn't seem like it was just because of that one fact, which is inspiring.
Well, And you had it harder because it was your dad, you know, so I think that's even more difficult. And being a male, you know, living in his shoes, that I don't know, that just must have been even tougher. I always say it will get the door open.
You know, I didn't realize there was a big cowboy hat behind me following me around, that other people were seeing it. I didn't see it. So lucky for me, I didn't feel it at the time, even though at one point I realized, like, gosh, you know, some of these situations seem weird. And so I started backing off from those. And sometimes it just attracts, you know, the wrong person or opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
I always said too, like, it'll open doors for you, but then once those doors are open, you better have the goods to back it up, you know, because they almost expect more from you.
They do for sure. For sure.
Well, you overcame it.
Well, who knows? It's not over yet. Hey, what year did you go to Nashville?
That was 2006 that I went.
2006.
Came here. Yeah.
Wow.
I made one trip in 2005, and then I ended up moving here in 2006.
And then did the Amazing Race come while you were in Nashville?
Yeah, that came a lot later. Yeah. So after that showcase that failed, I, you know, stayed and went back to work and kept writing music. And I think that's when I realized that I had a talent for writing music more than really singing. And so I just wrote with everyone I could. There was this songwriter named Gary Burr, and he's a huge songwriter. And I would just knock on his door all the time and ask him if he'd write with me. And I think finally, after a year, he got annoyed with me asking him. So he finally wrote with me.
That's good.
And so then I just kind of got in the door of songwriting, and I ended up joining my first band, which was called Stealing Angels. And we did a radio tour and put out some songs, and we got a record deal and the whole thing. And then Taylor Lynn, who was Loretta Lynn's granddaughter, she was in my band. She had a baby, and she just really wanted to raise her kid and didn't want to do it anymore. So we lost our record deal. So then I was like back to zero again. And that's when Amazing Race called. They were looking for 2 country singers. And my other girl that was in the band, Caroline, and we didn't have anything to do because we didn't have the record deal anymore. And so we did it.
So it was you didn't really pursue that. It came to you, and you just said,
yeah.
Wow,
I had never even seen the show before.
And you came in 4th in your first go around?
Yeah, so we did it, and it was unbelievable, but it was extremely difficult. I mean, you have no money, you have one backpack that you need everything you can imagine for 30 days traveling around the world. And no phone, no maps or anything, and you just get put in these crazy situations. But we came in 4th, and then, which was great. And then we came home, and I'm like, okay, I'm just getting over the nightmares of like waking up and running through the airport. And they called us again, and they're like, we're doing an all-stars. Would you guys want to come back? So it was like, how could you say no? We kind of didn't want to do it because we were still traumatized from the first time, but we said yes. And then we came in 2nd on that time. Wow. We lost by 4 seconds. So,
well, I watched it, and it's stressful watching it. So I can't imagine what it's like to be in there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it just looks hard. You know, it looks like
it is. I mean, and you don't eat really for 30 days. Like, you have no food, and it's just crazy. But it was unbelievable to see the places that we got to see. I would never just go to Sri Lanka. You know, I wouldn't just pick that place to go to. So they really put you in situations that you don't feel comfortable in, and that are super foreign, but they're experiences of a lifetime.
They're experiences, and you get to meet people, and you get to see, you know, how they live, and that they're okay. They're just people too. Everybody's just doing it.
And that was the thing we took from it, is that people are good. Most people are good. There's bad people everywhere, but most people are good, and all around the world, they just wanted to help you, and they were so nice. So that was like my big take on it.
Well, that's a good message, and I think that's a message your grandfather understood and appreciated, that people are basically good.
Yeah.
I think we could solve it's funny, when I'm at home I don't notice anything. When you're out here, if somebody's walking 3 miles away, you look and you're like, who's that?
There's a person.
They're way out there.
Well, your dad, Ethan, I mean, I never got to meet him, so you know more than me, but just the stories that I hear from people, he touched so many people's lives, and he was so nice to everyone. He gave everybody time, it feels like. Being a bit as big of a star as he was, I'm sure he had 1 million people come up to him all the time. But when people tell me stories about how they met them, there's not one story that he was rude or shoot him off or what. He just gave everybody time.
I haven't heard any, and I've been around a long time, and he's been gone a long time. And to this day, you I'm sure you encounter it because of the connection, but people adore him, and everybody has a story. And it's amazing, what a wide swath through life he carved, and, just left everybody with good feelings and positive impression of himself. Yeah, it's a nice legacy.
Yeah.
A nice legacy. So Caroline, does she do music too?
So she's doing a podcast. It's called Get Real. And she's doing great. She loves it, and she's a mom, and she's kind of moved into the hosting side. She hosts the Opry, and she's doing great. So she's
still friends.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna see her this week. Next week we're gonna have breakfast.
So what year did you finish the second Amazing Race?
Oh gosh, I'm so bad with years. I don't even know. I think it was 2013 or 14, maybe one of those years.
And then,
I don't know. I've been here so long, it all flows together.
And then you wrote a song that somebody picked up in that time period. Was that the She Don't Love You song?
Yeah. So She Don't Love You I actually wrote that before Amazing Race. Probably the year before we did Amazing Race. And Eric Pasley, who's an artist, he made an album, and he put it on there, and he had 2 singles before that, and he ended up putting that out as a 3rd single. So that was really cool. And at that time, after Amazing Race, we kind of went back to square zero. What are we going to do again?
Well, when you wrote that song for the guy, and somebody said, no, Jennifer's got a song on the radio. There's a guy, he's a known guy, he's singing her song. And so we, obviously put the song on in the office and looked around, everybody was crying. It was a great song. I still love that.
Thanks. I know that was special for me because we got nominated for Song of the Year at the ACMs, and that was, just probably every songwriter's dream to write a song like that, that gets your peers support. But at that time, I actually took a job at a record label, taking Natalie Stovall, who's in my band now. I was her radio rep. So I was just trying to stay in music, and this was before the single happened. But, we didn't have a record deal, and I thought, well, I just got to stay in the business, whether it's being an artist or not. So I took a job on the opposite side, and I was a radio rep. So I took Natalie around and I had known radio because of my relationships from the first band. So it's funny how it's a big full circle. I didn't even realize that was going to help me in this new band, having all these radio relationships.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then that song became a single, and it got me a little bit of attention. And
the She Don't Love You song?
Yeah, the She Don't Love You song. And my office at the time at the record label, it was next to Benny Brown's office, who owned Broken Bow, who was the record label I ended up signing with. And I would just go over there and play him songs and try to get my songs heard, and he would always listen to them. And And so Benny is the one who ended up offering me my record deal with Naomi and Natalie. So it kind of just, he loved my songwriting, and this was before Natalie Hannah at the time.
Yeah.
But he heard Naomi sing a showcase, and he thought her voice was incredible. And so he said, hey, why don't you write with her? You know, I really love her voice, but I don't think she has the songs yet. And so we just started writing, and that's how we got our record deal.
Wow.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
So it was you, Hannah, and Naomi. And I remember I just looked it up because I looked back at that. Remember when you guys came and played at that art gallery when we were doing that photo collection?
Yeah.
You guys came and played like, I don't know, 3 songs or something like that, and we were so excited.
Behind me. You gave me that photo.
Oh, is that from that night? That was after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was after.
I have a picture and a video of you guys playing, and I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
So was that the beginning of Runaway June? Like, when did that start?
Runaway June started, let's see, it's been
I mean, were you playing a lot before that time, like when we were together there?
Yeah, we had been on the road, I think, at that time. I think we signed our deal in 2015.
I see.
So we had kind of formed and started playing together. Yeah, I think it was 2015. So that was
time on and off the road. Wow.
What? Sorry, I missed what you said.
You've spent a lot of time doing this. I mean, you're you know,
yeah.
what's
I
that
know
thing
everyone
that
says
10,000 hours and you become a professional?
Well, everyone says, oh, Nashville's a 10-year town. I'm like, for me, it was a 15-year town. It took 15 years till I started having success. But it's all right. It's been worth it.
Well, you guys had a great sound, and obviously people have changed in the band, and, you know, people decide to do different things with their lives, or personalities get in the way.
Yeah.
But you guys seem to be very resilient, and it seems to be going as good as ever right now.
Oh, thanks, Ethan. Well, and I kind of got lucky this year too. Keith Urban recorded a song of mine that's out right now as his single. I think it's at 21 on the charts right now. It's called Wild Hearts, but that's kind of like a bucket list for me. I mean, he's just such a superstar. To have him sing one of your songs is like the coolest thing in the world.
That's as good as it gets, I suppose.
Yeah, and he's so nice.
Well, I know all this stuff, by the way. Like, do you think anything gets by me and Marisa?
Oh yeah, I know.
Let me know the minute something happens with you. We're listening.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she immediately sends that around and lets everybody know, and she's a huge fan of yours. Yeah. Well,
she's the reason, because she gave me the confidence to come out here. You know, my dad thought I was crazy. My mom didn't know anything about it. And Marisa is kind of, you know, she's kind of been like a mother to me.
Well,
she's too young to be my mom,
but I want to, like, next time you're out, let's all 3 sit down and do this.
Yeah, I would love that.
I'd love to be here.
I would love that.
I'd like to hear you guys talk.
Yeah,
so what's happening with Runaway June? I don't want you to give away any secrets, but are you guys touring? Is it on hold? What's the...
Well, so we just got off the road with Luke Bryan. We went on his tour last year, and that was so fun, and he's incredible. And this year, we were going to do C2C, which is a big festival in Europe, but my due date is too close to the dates that we were going to be there. So we're gonna wait till next year to do that, and we're kind of off until the baby comes. So she's due April 16th, and then we start again in May. So I'll have a month.
Wow.
A month at home with her, and then I don't know what everyone's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna figure it out. I guess she's gonna come with me.
Yeah, get that thing that you hold the kid in the front with.
Yeah, the carrier.
So I don't think anybody, I mean, your fans probably know that you're pregnant, but I don't think anybody watching this, you know, might know, because you don't look pregnant at all. She's starting to pop. Jennifer has gotten married and gotten pregnant. And how's Mr. Austin Moody doing?
Oh, he's great. He's making the nursery right now. He can do everything, building wise. So he's I don't even know what they're called, but I wanted like the slabs with the I I have no idea about construction or anything, whatever it's called. But he's doing it, and he's been spending time on the nursery. So we're just kind of starting to nest. Hasn't really felt real until the last couple weeks. Seeing the nursery makes it feel really real.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, it's
I
cool that he's
know.
so handy because he's handsome, he's talented, and he's handy.
And he's nice.
Well, that's maybe that's the most important.
He's ready for me to be able to drink again, though. He's like, oh gosh, just have this baby already so you can have your wine back.
Yeah, call Pilar. I think she drank all the way through. I'm not sure.
Probably. Oh gosh, I haven't done anything wrong. I've just been so freaked out. I haven't had caffeine. I've just been trying to be as good as I can be.
I'm sure the baby's going to be just fine.
She's starting to kick right now, like majorly. You can see my stomach. She's kicking like crazy. It looks like there's an alien in my stomach.
There is. There's a little
Yeah,
alien.
I know.
And you guys know it's a girl?
Yeah. So I'm naming her Lily Maria, which Manu's name, is Maria del Pilar. So, and then mom's middle name's Maria. So I figured I'd keep it in the family.
Oh, that's nice. I hope I see mom.
I know. It's so funny. Mom, she's like, oh, I hate that name, Maria. I'm like, why? She's like, it's just so Spanish. I'm like, well, that's why I love it, because I want her to keep the Spanish heritage. I want her to know.
Funny, I haven't said Aisa Maria Wayne in a long time.
Yeah, I think she never used it.
No, she didn't. How's she doing? Everything good? Her dog's okay?
Yeah, everything's good. And so Annie, my sister, she's, like you said, she's traveling there with her 3 kids today. So my mom's name to the kids are Mimi. So all the kids are excited to see Mimi. And then Manu has never met them. So I think it'll be her first time meeting the kids.
Well, I haven't either. I haven't seen Annie. And I mean, she came by John Wayne Day in Texas, so that was fun. But prior to that, I hadn't seen her for a very long time.
Wow. Yeah, it's hard when we're all in different places.
Yeah, I don't think of her as a grown-up. Just think of her as little Annie.
I know, she's my little sister, and she's got 3 kids, and I barely did it in the nick of time before I turned 40. I was delaying it as long as I could.
You did it. Does John Wayne come up in your life like presently now, like it did before? Like, do you notice a difference?
Yeah, I mean, still he does, but I think now just from Runaway June, I think a lot of people say, oh, you're from Runaway June, but then when people find out that he's my grandfather, it's really cool because, like you said, just so many people adore him. And
yeah,
we played a show on
your songs as well, so he's made it into the lyrics.
Yeah, Wild West was a song that I wrote, and he's in there, and it's cool to just see other people, sing and have John Wayne in there.
Well, I'm sure that everybody listening has heard of Runaway June, but if you haven't, go out immediately and listen to Runaway June.
Thanks, Ethan.
They have some great music, and Jennifer's written some beautiful songs. And
Thank
Wild
you.
West is a terrific song. Yeah,
that's my favorite.
We're all proud of you. I did notice, like, at a time in my life, I was sort of John Wayne's son. And then when you get a job or you're on something, you become Ethan Wayne. And then now that I've come back to run the family business, I'm John Wayne's son again.
Yeah.
It's a weird phenomenon. And there's there was nobody, to this day, I don't think there's anybody as large or as loved as he was.
Absolutely.
I know the older I get, the more taken back I am, just by the legacy that he left. As a young boy or as a young man, I didn't see it. I didn't realize it. I guess I didn't realize the depth of it.
Yeah.
But now I just want to learn, because I didn't have him. So maybe through some of the films, like other people did, you learn through the films
Yeah.
what he represented or wanted to represent, or the messages that he wanted to get to people. And so the other day, like before I came out here, I had like an hour and a half, and I put the Cowboys on, and I watched the Cowboys, and I was totally inspired by it.
Oh,
Movie.
is it cool now getting that different perspective and, you know, learning about it and everything now?
For me, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, being a teenager at a weird time in his life, I think. Older, you know, getting separated, you know, stuff happening in his life, and then, you know, that occupying his time. So our bond was a little loosened. You know, when you become a teenage boy, you kind of drift away.
Yeah.
And never having him there, you know, when you come back was definitely different. And then just trying to navigate the world as somebody like that's, you know, you're attached to that person, and just trying to figure that whole thing out when you're just a wee little pup.
Right. And
you know,
creating your own identity, you know,
yeah, it can be
figuring
a
out.
little disconcerting. But,
Yeah.
you know, he's just, as I get older, then I appreciate him and his film legacy more. Just the way he did it. You know, it's I mean, I put it on today, and I would rather watch that than 99% of the stuff that's out there. We have great shows, but I don't think there's characters that are good like that. It's tough to find a character like that.
I agree.
He's
and
like
the stories, the storyline.
He's like Magnetic North. You know, this is the way you want to go. Every decision he makes on screen makes you want to be a better person, makes you want to do more, be clearer, be more honest. You know what I mean? Like,
and did he took those roles on purpose, right? He wanted to portray that role because he probably was really like that as a human.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk to him about it, but you watch those early films where he's just, you know, in a gunfight, in a fist fight, you know, they were knocking those movies out once a week, and he's making a living. Then when he gets to Stagecoach, you know, he becomes the story. It's him. You know, he walks on that screen, he spins the gun, and he's got that voice and that presence. And then it's off to the races. He never, you know, that was his seasoning. He's playing all those bars and stages and things. And then when he got there, and John Ford got a hold of him again and tuned him up, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it just, you know, he got to hang around Wyatt Earp, you know, he got to hang around Yakima Canutt. He got to hang around Harry Carey Sr. He got to hang around Raoul Walsh. He got to hang around John Ford. These were men.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Each Man in His Time?
No.
It's a book about Raoul Walsh's life story, and Raoul Walsh is who hired John Wayne and gave him the part in The Big Trail, his first movie, which was an incredible film, but wasn't like successful. Didn't build a career for him yet. But
what is it called again? To Each Man
in His Time by Raoul Walsh.
Okay.
You just, you know, the way he came up, the way he was, you know, at 14, he was put on a cargo ship that sailed out of New York Harbor and, you know, went to South America, and he did a cattle drive from Mexico up to Montana, and then he worked for a surgeon in Montana, you know, all this before he got to Hollywood. So you had a real seasoned man walking on, you know, taking the helm of these films that were being made and telling these stories. And so it's just you know, it's there's a lot more life experience.
Yeah.
And that's the guy who watched John Wayne pick up a chair and move furniture into his office and thought, you know, this guy's got something that could work. But then it took 10 years after that opportunity for him to get the role in Stagecoach, and for John Ford to say, okay, you're ready now, I'm going to go work with you. But Raoul Walsh's story which includes a chapter on meeting John Wayne and hiring him, is interesting, and it's also interesting to to hear what my dad was doing, because I only knew him as, when I was a kid, he was just this big thing.
Yeah.
Life happened a certain way around him, and so I never saw life the other way.
Right. That's interesting. I want to read that.
Yeah, it's really good. Have you read any of the biographies on John Wayne?
Yeah, but it's been a long time. I've got to reread them now that I'm older and can understand more,
I never did until recently. I just sort of resisted, and
Really?
I really enjoyed it. Finding out about his early life, I can kind of tell, when they talk to certain people, because I've heard their storyline. So I don't trust that as much. I think all that gets bent a little bit. One, all our memories are weird, and certain people tend to build stories around themselves. So I took all that with a grain of salt, but his research on the early days of his career was just fascinating to me. Really.
That's crazy you didn't read it till now, but it kind of makes sense.
But that's my own stubbornness. I shut it out. I don't know why. I'm not sure. But I'm glad I embraced it and went back and had a look, and the authors did a good job, and it was fun to read. It makes me want more time with him,
Yeah. I think when I was younger, I read all that stuff just because I didn't know him. I never met him, so I wanted to learn, all about him.
Yeah.
But it's been, probably 15 years since I really went back and studied anything.
And I felt like I knew him, but I only knew him for 17 years, I only knew him 56 to 72. And so that was limiting on my side on what I knew. So it was fun to go hear the rest of it.
One of my favorite stories, this has nothing to do with his acting, but when I met Maureen O'Hara, we had dinner and I was like, well, just tell me your favorite story, because I only hear the family stories, tell me some scoop. I just hear Mom talking about him as a dad and stuff. And so she said, well, your grandfather loved to drink. And so we were out and we were drinking it somewhere on Sunset Boulevard, and all the places closed at 2. And she said he didn't want to stop drinking. So he told their driver, take me to that house. And she said, do you know them? And he said, no, but take me to the house. And he said, knock on the door and tell him I want to drink. And she's Maureen O'Hara, it's a superstar in her own right. And she had to go, at 2:30 or 3 a.m. and knock on this house's door. And she said they opened the door in a robe. And she said, I'm so sorry, but I'm with Mr. Duke Wayne and he would like to have a drink. And she said they invited him in and they ended up drinking all night long. And I just thought that was so funny.
Wow.
Can you imagine in today's world, like with Twitter and Instagram, if a superstar knocked on your door at 3 a.m. wanting to keep drinking?
No. Thank goodness.
Isn't that funny?
Such a crazy world now.
I know.
Crazy world. It's just the beginning of this whole communication phenomenon, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. I think there's good in there. I just think it's going to take us some time to figure out how to get to it.
Right. A balance.
Yeah. How to get to
for sure.
How to get to the good part, because did you watch The Social Dilemma? Did you watch that documentary?
That freaked me out. Yes. Yes.
I watched that and I was like, oh no.
I know. And then you really see things differently after watching it, when ads pop up and different things that you're like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah.
You can see how you go down this rabbit hole.
Well, hopefully there's some good people out there that will be inspired to make it work in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes back to what John Wayne was talking about in the late 60s. I remember him talking about this, the fact that, I think people may have had a stronger moral compass in business and in life after the Second World War. And as we drifted farther and farther away from that, and money sort of became north rather than your moral compass pointing north, if it all becomes about the dollar, then you start shaving away at some of these moral decisions where, you know, you can capitalize on profits as opposed to doing what's good maybe for the country as a whole or for people as a whole. And I think
that's really interesting.
yeah, it's you see the movie business shift. I think you see a shift in how corporations are run and what they can do, how, you know, lobbyists can control our representatives. You know, I love I saw a meme the other day, or a GIF, I don't know what the hell it is, but they said our representatives should wear the patches of all the companies that are sponsoring them to be elected, like NASCAR drivers wear patches on who their sponsors are, so we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
an interesting thought.
Term limits and some transparency might help.
Yeah.
Might help. Anyway.
I know it's scary thinking about having a daughter going into this world with social media and all the stuff. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
you know, we didn't have that growing up.
Well, that's why I think that maybe, you know, a lot of people know it. I mean, even the social media people, they don't let their kids go on social media.
Yeah.
Right? The guys who run the companies are like, no, hell no, keep them off of that thing.
Yeah.
So we'll
my best friend, I think, is doing the coolest thing, because if you tell your kids you can't get on social media or you can't have a phone or whatever, but then all the kids in their class have it, then they want it more and they feel left out, and then it becomes something they don't have, you know? And so she got a group of her friends in their school, and they all agreed that there would be no phones until, I think it's 10 years old or whatever. No phones, wow. No social media. So there's not that comparison of, well, that kid has it, you know, and I don't. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, because that makes it easier for a kid not to want it as much. If your friends have it and you don't, then you want it, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. Hopefully parents can pick up on that and start doing that.
Man, 10 is so young.
I know. But I think the best thing we can do too is like what you're doing, and with the podcast and talking about your dad, we just have to keep being positive examples and spreading that as much as we can. And that's what, in my music, my favorite compliment is when moms come up to me and they're like, thank you so much for making music that I'm proud that my daughter is listening to, you know, instead of the opposite. And so I feel like that's a way that I can kind of help.
Well, it's great, Jennifer, that you do that, because it makes a difference to be an example for somebody, to say, no, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to fall to the lowest part of the brainstem or the lowest common denominator. Like, right. You can, you know what I mean? You can deliver, you know, be an example of how to deliver a message in a way that's, what's the word? I don't know. Is it appropriate? I mean,
well, that makes it cool for young kids, you know, that they're like, oh, well, that's cool. I want to be like that. Yeah. Instead of it being the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're setting a good example. So how do you articulate that to just be a little bit more, because you're not stodgy or
square.
Yeah, you're not square. And John Wayne wasn't either, you know, but in some of his films, if something's happening, I appreciate the door closing and just knowing that something's happening behind the door. I don't need to see it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I guess maybe integrity.
And make it tasteful.
Yeah, integrity would be a good word, I think.
Yeah.
You know, do things with integrity.
Well, you know, as a family, we're all proud of you, not just because you're, you know, on the radio, but because, you know, you were bold and you went out and you took the risk and you put yourself out there. And, you know, there was a lot of years where you weren't seeing really anything in return. And I'm happy that you are now.
Oh, thanks, Ethan.
Proud to be related to you. And I know Marisa's always thrilled with you. And I hope that when you do come out, we can sit down and do this together. I want you to bring you to Pioneer Town.
Yeah.
There's a great venue, and there's some stuff happening here that maybe you guys could come participate in. I'll show you next time you're around.
Let's do it. I would love to do this with Marisa too. That would be so fun.
You know, it'd be fun is if you and Austin, the baby, and Marisa and Carmela and I jumped on the boat, went to Catalina, showed you all the places.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or bring your
Heck
mom.
yeah. I'm gonna take you up on that.
Okay, that would be fun. Gosh,
That'd be a blast.
I wonder when the last time your mother was there was.
Gosh, it's got to be a while.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we lived there when we were kids.
Gosh, that's crazy. In Alaska, right? You guys would go to Alaska every summer?
Yeah, I mean, Catalina was here, so we did that often, but then he would send the boat up to British Columbia and Alaska in the summer, in the winter. In the summer, and then Mexico in the winter. In Mexico could be Baja, could be the Sea of Cortez, or it could be all the way down to Acapulco and Puerto Vallarta and Correas, all these different places that were nothing back then. You know, Cabo San Lucas was just a little quiet fishing village. It was beautiful.
Man, that's so cool.
Really
I
pretty.
didn't realize this. We just, our guitar player couldn't do a show on January 1st. So we got a sub guitar player, and he's from Chile. And he said that there's a saying in Chile, it's like slang. And it's like, John Wayne Chile Queen, or gosh, is that what it is? It's basically like, be cool, be calm like John Wayne. And it's like a total saying that it's just slang there that they say all the time.
Really?
Isn't that funny?
You gotta figure out what that is and send it to me.
Yeah, gosh, it's Chile Queen John Wayne or something. I'll ask him.
All right, cool.
But he said it's just part of their vocabulary, like stay cool or whatever we have, you know, it's the thing they say there.
Let me look at one thing. I can't remember if there was, we just started talking and I forgot if there was something I wanted to actually ask you. You did all that. Do you write songs like every day? Are you writing?
Pretty much. Well, I try to write like four or five times a week instead of every day, just to give yourself a little bit of creative. It's hard to be creative every single day, you know. So, but yeah, I like to, even when I'm not, it's just like a practice where you just power through and you write.
And then do you just get an idea and write something down and then think and build on it? And then think and rearrange it, and then think and change it?
It's all different. Like for me, a lot of times, some people will pick up the guitar and just try to find something in a guitar. But I write. So I'll think of like a hook, or somebody will say something and I'll say, gosh, that's a great song. Or if I'm feeling something that I want to write. And then just melodies sometimes will come to me, like the Wild Hearts, the Keith Urban song. I dreamt that melody. I woke up and I just record it in my phone. You know, I'll have these melodies in my dream that sound like gibberish sometimes, but and so then I'll take those ideas and bring them to people, and then you collaborate. So it's different every time.
I will daydream about like playing parts in my head. Even though I haven't done it one time, I still like, that's sort of my daydream, will be like doing something like that. That's so fun. What a nice creative outlet. And what about the hat store, American Paint? That's new.
Oh yeah, so I love hats. And it's kind of cool because it's, you know, you can buy a hat anywhere, but it's an actual experience because you get to just create it from scratch. So you just start off with a plain hat and you get to choose your bands. You can brand it, you can burn it, you can put all sorts of knickknacks on it, and it's really fun. It's a fun experience to do with a friend or family, or bachelorette parties will come. And
it's a retail store in Nashville, correct?
Yeah, and it's funny, we are selling the John Wayne shirts. We're selling those John Wayne shirts, and they love them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a bunch of fun designs coming out for summer too, so we'll make sure you have a bunch of those there.
People just are loving it. So
tell us where exactly that store is.
So it's called American Paint, and it's in L&L Marketplace, which is, it's on Charlotte and Nashville. It's a popular place in West Nashville, and there's a ton of shops there and food, restaurants, and everything. And so you can go there and make a hat, and it's really it's fun. You got to come to Nashville and we'll make one.
Is there a website for it?
Yeah, AmericanPaintHat.com.
American Paint hat or hats?
Hat, just one hat.
AmericanPaintHat.com. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And we should push that on all our stuff too. Make sure people
That'd be cool.
are there.
There's the shirt, The Hell I Won't, the John Wayne shirt, The Hell I Won't. That's the one that people are loving the most.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you told anybody on our team that that's the one that people seem to like?
No, I should. I actually didn't even know that till a couple days ago. My partner that's there, he's pretty much there every day. He said when he walks around with that shirt, everyone asks him, where do you get that? And then they all go buy
cool.
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, everybody will know now because we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
Did you finish college?
Yeah. I did 2 years at USC and then 2 years at Santa Barbara, and I graduated from UC Santa Barbara.
And what was your degree in?
Art history. So nothing.
So now I read somewhere where you studied Asian art.
Yeah, I love Asian art. I just think it's so cool.
Is that because of pieces that your mother had from her dad?
No, and you know what's funny? I didn't even notice them when I was a kid, but now, when I started doing art history and taking the classes, just the Asian art was so interesting to me because their culture is just amazing. And especially Japanese art, I really loved that the most. But then when I started learning about it, I would ask Manu, she has all that Asian art and all the pieces, ask about it, because I didn't even, when I was a kid, I didn't know anything.
Yeah, they had a lot of Asian art and a lot of Native American art. And the Native American art he sent directly to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in his will. It didn't even come through us.
Oh, really?
Keep your hands off this stuff. It went straight there. So they have a terrific collection because he had the Asian art and then he had the Native American art. And it was a really interesting mix in the house.
Wow. So how did they get into Asian art?
Honestly, I don't know. That was before my time. But I think they had a friend that that was like a designer, a home decorator, and I think she did that. But I don't know if it's because he traveled over there and he said, "Hey, I like this thing." Uh-oh.
Sorry, I just declined. Sorry, someone called, so I just declined.
Oh yeah, no worries. I don't know if it's because he'd seen something in his travels or if it was because she brought it over. It'd be interesting. I'd like to, who might know is Michael's widow Gretchen. She was around a lot, or Patrick might know where, or Melinda might know where that came from. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Because I love the American art and the rugs and the Kachina dolls. Man,
man, so cool.
The silver and the turquoise, that stuff is, I feel like it's not, you can't go, oh, that's this time period. It's good forever. And I feel like John Wayne is that way. And I feel like your music is that way. It's not going to be pegged at, that's 2017. You know what I mean? That's just great music, whether it's today or it's in 20 years. The Cowboys was made when I was 10. I'm 59. I watched it the other day and I was gone. Like the movie started, I'm unaware. I'm in that scene with those people.
Yeah.
Gone. I'm not in my house anymore. I'm literally there. I was there as a little boy, but when I watch movies like that, I just disappear into it.
It's just one of my favorite movies. I love that.
Mine too. And that reminds me a lot of how he was as a father. Talking to his friends, he's got issues.
Which is tough too.
Huh?
It makes you a man, but it's tough,
Yeah, but I think any kid who grows up, around livestock or a farm in some rural environment, they can be tough. I mean, surfer kids, they're
Right.
tough. They're tough in their own way. Kids who
Yeah.
do martial arts are tough. They
Yeah.
learn how to go through, being hot or being cold or something's heavy or you're getting a blister. Like you get past some of this and it makes you a better person. It makes you stronger.
Absolutely. I think
And,
that's what's like kind of lacking right now. Sometimes you need
yeah.
some of that toughness
And
and
with COVID, one of the cool things that's come out of COVID is rural areas are getting sort of populated again. Cowboy hat sales are up, boot sales
yeah.
are up, denim sales are up, right?
Even
This
look at the
day,
TV shows like Yellowstone and 1883. It's like the
yep,
Yellowstone's the most popular show anywhere right now.
yeah, that's terrific. I can't wait to watch 1883.
Oh, it's so
I'm a
good.
Sam Elliott man. I always wanted to be like Sam Elliott, but I'm not tall and I'm not skinny.
You know how I know it's great acting too is because Faith and Tim, they're just such superstars as in music, but when you watch the show you forget that you're watching Faith and Tim. You feel like you're watching that character, so I just think that they've done such a great job and that they're great actors for you to forget who you're watching, and really
Yeah, and
believe
I think
that
that's the
character.
key. If somebody makes you forget, if I listen to your song, it goes straight into my heart. It makes me feel something. It's the same thing. You're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You're affecting those people emotionally, viscerally. It's a real talent, and it's worth something. And I think it's important in society to have art like that,
Yes,
to
me
give
too.
people a shot at an experience or a way through an experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So American Paint, you're a Asian art historian, tennis playing instructor, amazing winning, songwriting, performing. Like how you play on stage with your guitar, okay, but then when you have to go do a show and everybody has to move and everybody has to work together and you got to live in a small confined space with two other girls and band members and drivers.
Yeah,
And
10 people.
10
10 people
people.
in a bus. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you, like Jennifer, you've always seemed to me, even as a young girl, you seem to have a calmness about you. You're pretty even keeled. You don't get excited really or upset about a lot of things. And I'm sure there's quite a bit of drama in your life, right? Whether you're doing the Amazing
Oh,
Race
yeah.
of the Girls, you're touring, with Carrie Underwood and two other girls. Like, how do you navigate all that?
Honestly, I feel like tennis was the greatest life lesson that I had. I mean, you are in pressure situations and at such a young age. I look back, I'm like, wow, if you didn't win that match, that meant you didn't make it to the tournament, which meant you didn't make it to state, which meant you didn't make it to nationals, which meant you might not get a scholarship. It's like the pressure that you have as a young kid playing those on the level that I was playing at. I mean, it was a lot of pressure, but I feel like that's what's given me the tools for life. You don't give up until you're in it till the very end, and you got to pull through in situations that are tough, and it takes work and practice, and you're going to lose matches, but you get back out and you play it again, and you deal with cheaters who are cheating. I mean, there's just so much in tennis it's just life lessons. So, and I'm sure it's like that in all sports. So I would love my daughter to be able to play sports and play music too, but that really taught me, I feel like, how to be strong and resilient, just knowing that you can do it. You just got to keep trying.
You got to keep working.
Yeah, keep working.
You're born,
yeah.
and then you got to work, and you got to work the whole time.
Yeah.
And life's more fulfilling when you do it that way. When you're working. Yeah.
I mean, they're just over COVID. There are some times where we weren't as busy as normal, and it's weird how you just get so used to just going nonstop to where you kind of feel a little empty when you're not when you're not doing stuff. So it was a blessing in disguise in a lot of ways, because it taught us how to slow down a little bit. I think you feel fulfilled when you're working and doing stuff and completing tasks and feeling like I saw this YouTube video of I think he was like a sergeant or a general, and he was talking about just how as a human it makes you feel good to just complete tasks. And he said, when you wake up in the morning and you just make your bed, your bed in the morning, and you feel good about yourself, you've gotten something done that day. I just remember going, wow, that speech really got me.
I've listened to the same speech over and over.
You have, isn't it?
And I
so
get up
cool?
and I make my bed. It's the first thing I do.
And you feel accomplished.
I slept in the van last night, but the bed is made.
Oh, that's so cool. You listen to the same one. I'm like, that's just the coolest speech.
Yeah.
But it's like a metaphor in life. When you get things done, it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm. How is, do you ever talk to Hannah?
Yeah, she's doing great. She's in California, and she's married, and I think they might start trying to have kids soon. And she's a great artist, so she's been diving into her art.
I follow her on social media, and I saw some beautiful tiles and different things that she's done. I always liked her.
She's so talented.
Good feeling about her.
Her tiles are pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh!
All the Spanish style tiles that she does, it's so cool.
Yeah, and I liked her too. I don't know. I don't know how you guys got along, but it seemed like she was maybe a positive.
Oh yeah, Hannah's great. I mean, she taught me a lot just in my own life. She's a vegan and very environmentally, aware, and she just taught me a lot that I didn't know. Just to be a little bit better to the earth and to yourself. She's incredible. How's
your father doing? I haven't seen him in 20 years. I don't know, maybe longer.
He's doing great. He's really into junior tennis, and he's really he's done amazing things, especially for the junior girl tennis. But he's created scholarships and places and tournaments to help these kids, and he's getting ready for, it's called the Easter Bowl. It's a national tournament. He runs that, so he's getting ready for the Easter Bowl. But he's pretty.
In San Diego? Where is he?
Yeah, he's in San Diego. He's pretty amazing just with what he's done with junior tennis. Tennis is just his passion. And then he did that movie, When Billy Beat Bobby, with Steve Carell, and what was her name? The actress. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Who was the actress?
Helen. Was it Helen
watched
Hunt?
it, I think. Did he have a cameo in that? Was Lauren?
Yeah. Yeah, he had a little cameo. But what was the coolest is he taught Steve Carell how to play tennis. So he'd go to his house every day and try to teach him how to play like Bobby played, And he said that he was a great guy, and they had a blast. So.
Oh, cool.
Of all the things, I never thought I'd see my dad in a movie. And the funniest thing is a girl that I went to middle school with, Jennifer Beaton's her name. She, knows my dad from growing up. And she said, I was, and she's a casting agent in New York. And she said, so I got this, script, and I got this casting for a Lorne Kuehl. She said, I couldn't believe it. She was like, I'm trying to find an actor to play your dad of all the things in the entire world.
Wow.
It's so funny.
I'm going to go watch it again.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Is Aisa playing tennis still? She was quite a tennis player, wasn't she?
No, she's gotten really into golf, which
into golf?
I have too. I've been loving playing golf. So her and I, we've played golf a lot together, which is fun to have that mother-daughter thing to do, you know?
You know what else is weird about us? You, me, Marisa, Pilar, Aisa, we're all dog people. I haven't been without a dog since my dad died. I don't know why.
Your dad was a dog person too, right?
we had dogs, but I think it was mostly Aisa that got the dogs.
Really?
But I'd have to ask her because, she's got a couple years on me, so she'd remember some of that early stuff better than I do.
She said, I think they were like mini Dobermans or something that your dad had.
That's right. He did. He had a couple miniature Doberman pinschers, but we had some crazy dogs. We had a Samoyed. We had this other brown dog. There were dogs around.
Were you there? Or I can't remember if you guys were born or if it was before you were born, but she said Manu had a dog named Blackie, and that the dog, there was a fire and the dog saved her life. I don't know if it was with you guys or
all our lives. I think it woke her up, and I think I was just a baby, but maybe it was just Aisa and Manu at the time. I'm not sure. Blackie was a little dachshund.
Oh my gosh, a Dachshund, how cute.
And we talked, we have to do this with you, me, Marisa, and Pilar.
Oh, because, yeah. Oh, for sure.
We had to talk to Pilar about her early life, and it was so interesting to me, Jennifer. Her life was just incredible. She's got a ton of personality. She had a ton of life experience, and the stories about the dog and back and forth to South America and my dad, her husband. It's really interesting, and I think you'd enjoy it, and I think she would really enjoy sharing it with you.
I would love that. I would really love that.
Next
her
time,
stories are, for everyone listening, my grandma and his mom, she is a hoot. Like the stories that they tell, I'm like, how did she get away with that back in the day? I can't. Like, speaking of art, this was a new one that I didn't know, but she found these like huge lampshades in Hawaii that she wanted to take home, and they wouldn't allow them to take them on the plane. You couldn't pack them or something. So she made Marisa and her friend wear them as hats. Marisa said she was so embarrassed walking on the plane with these huge lampshades. I'm like, of course Manu would do that and think of that.
She is something else.
Golly.
A different kind of mom. You had to be on your toes.
Yeah, I bet.
You had to be on your toes. Gosh, it was.
Oh my gosh.
And also, I was gonna ask you about.
Speaking of dogs, I love rescuing. I used to foster and rescue before my band. I in 1 year I got 10 dogs rehabilitated and a new home. So I'm actually I'm kind of doing that now that I'm off the road for a little bit, just being pregnant. I'm starting to foster again. I'm going tomorrow to pick up a dog. So
oh wow.
So the dog thing is definitely in the blood.
It is. And, like when I give at the end of the year, I give to dog rescues.
Well, I believe that God puts stuff on our heart for a reason. And there's so many people that have kids or cancer and all, there's different things that are put on your heart, and you can have several, but I think that there's a reason why dogs were put on our hearts for a reason. And we should listen to that,
Have you ever been to the, in St. George, Utah, where your grandfather filmed a lot of movies, and I have a great picture of Manu from St. George. There's a dog rescue there called Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Incredible. They do a lot of good work, and you can go there and tour the facility and learn more about them and what they do. And they have programs for people to come out and, spend a week and volunteer. But this picture of Pilar, let me see if I can get it up here on my phone, is really cool. And, just takes me back to how adventurous their lives must have been, like her and my dad's. Of course, it's in my Instagram, and I have no idea where it is or how long it would take me to find it. But
you know her little dog Bella now?
Yeah.
So for everyone listening, my grandma, she's 93, and so she was 92 at the time, I guess, when we got Bella. But her poor dog that was like, what, Ethan, 21 or 22 years, Pierre, he passed away. And my grandma, that's her companion, was her dog. And so she wanted to get a new dog. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't get her she's 92. We can't get her a new dog, you know, and then what happens, you know, it's just, it's a tough situation, but we also knew that she needed something, you know, she needed a dog. So I went on these websites in LA. We got this dog in South Central, and I found the ugliest, oldest dog you could possibly find in a picture that I thought no one was ever going to adopt this dog, just because I thought, well, then it's an older dog and it's going to be, instead of being in a cage its whole life, it'll be with Manu. And so we picked Bella up, and she was just, I mean, I've never seen a dog so scared in my life. Her shaking was like uncontrollable. She was freaked out. She was in a metal cage with no windows, just inside, and these, I mean, it was just awful. And we were in the middle of South Central LA, and we get this dog, and I'm like, oh God, I hope Manu loves it, because it's not a brand new beautiful dog, you know, it's an old and that dog,
beautiful dog I've ever seen, but it's a nice dog.
But it's kind of like they saved each other's lives, you know, because Manu saved this dog's life, and this dog has given Manu, you know, something to look forward to every day.
She loves the dog. She came over to my house for Thanksgiving and brought Bella, and we were all on like Bella watch to make sure she didn't, one, fall into the ocean, and two, do anything. But it's a nice dog, and it really loves her. So
I know
that work is important and really good. Yeah,
and you know, we're so lucky she ended up being nice, because with all the abuse and stuff she had, little dogs can get more protective, you know, so it was kind of lucky that this dog is a sweet, nice dog.
Yeah.
But
when you think about John Wayne, or when you think about your grandfather, like, where do you see it? Like, where do you see him going? What do you see for the future of John Wayne?
For the future?
Yeah.
Well, just like you said, I feel like John Wayne is just, it's a forever thing. You know, he's not going away. It's almost like, I don't know what the word is.
I want to share it with people. I want them to know him, you know, and so there's films, but I still want people, like younger generation of people. A lot do know him, but I want more to know him. I think he makes you a better person. It's like meeting him and knowing him, whether it's was on screen or in person. It's good for you. It's good for you. It's good for the country.
Yeah.
But I'm going to shut up.
Character.
Asking you the question.
No, but it's true. I mean, and what's really cool, like you said, during COVID, it's kind of, people have been kind of changing direction, and I feel like with all the westerns now, westerns are kind of having a little bit of a resurgence, and especially with Yellowstone and 1883, but it makes a lot of people dig back into the older westerns, you know, so I think that's really cool. And I mean, he's our hero, and I think that's never going to go away. I think he's everyone's hero, whether you're talking to your grandpa or a young girl that said she would watch those John Wayne movies with her grandpa, and that was her memory with her grandpa, you know, so now it's her hero too.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's the word, is he's just kind of our American hero forever. I don't think that's ever going away.
And he's, you know, they said, how do you create this character? So, you know, I wanted to be somebody who you wanted to be your best friend, or marry your daughter, or be your son. Like, I wanted to represent that kind of man on screen.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really cool.
Well, he did a good job. He did a good job of it. He went over every heart of every human on the planet. So
I'm excited for your baby, you know, your new marriage, your career, and
thanks,
it was a family. We're all proud of you, not just for that, but for being such a cool person. Like, every time I'm around you, I have a good feeling.
Thanks,
and so I hope we get to spend more time together. I can't wait to get you and Marisa and Pilar together.
Me too. I know. Let's really do that. That would be a blast.
Pilar doesn't want to travel. We tried to take her to Texas. I want her to see the museum. But certainly next time you guys come out to California, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I'll make a trip just for that. because I would
Okay.
love to do that. I think she wants to travel. I think she's just in pain. She's so, for the listeners out there, she's so tough that she doesn't want to tell you that she's in pain or that it hurts to walk. You know, she'd rather not say it. So
Yeah.
I think that's the real reason.
She's
So we'll bring it to
you
her.
know, she's 93 and she still gets up. She has her, like her exercise routine.
Yeah.
She moves. She loves to
She
paint.
won't sit down. Yeah, I'm like, Mom, I'll go get that for you. I'll get you, new glass of water, orange juice. No, I got it. She wants to get up. She's a character.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
All
super
right.
proud that you're my uncle, Ethan. I'm proud of you, and you represent your dad so well and our family.
Oh, thanks, Jennifer.
I really, really mean that.
There's a bunch of us. We got a big old family. Everybody's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to the next time we see each other. Until
Me
then,
too.
love you. Best to Austin. And
Love you too.
thanks for coming and talking to us. So you got Runaway June, AmericanPaintHat.com. You're writing songs for people. If nobody's heard it, tell them about the Keith Urban song.
Oh yeah, it's called, Keith Urban has a song out right now called Wild Hearts, which I'm a co-writer on, and it's kind of about what we were talking about. It's about chasing your dream, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because you can if you put your mind to it,
And then what do you think the soonest we'll see you on stage again is?
So actually our first date back is May 29th in Jackson Hole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
We've got John Wayne Day in Texas on I think on the 26th. So we'll be there, but maybe I can leave there and drive the van straight to Jackson Hole and watch you guys.
That would be fun. Marisa came last year. So you guys should come together.
We'll do a birthday trip since our birthday is coming up.
Oh,
I don't want us to give each other presents anymore. I just want us to do things together. So I
think that's the best gift ever, have an experience and a memory with someone.
I do too. All right, Jennifer, thank you. I love you.
Okay, love you, Ethan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the John Wayne Gritcast. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you like what you heard, give us 5 stars in the Apple Podcast app and follow us on social media at John Wayne Official.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go.